Everyone, welcome to tonight live. For everyone that don't know me or this is your first time on joining on here, my name is Deborah, and some other people also know me as BLT with Delts, and I'm thrilled to have you here as part of our vibrant community. And before we dive in, I want to just introduce, like I said before, about the Slido, just in case you have some people that you might just be joining in. The code for the Slido is on the screen. The code is Fun Learning and is all in capitals. Fun Learning and is all in capitals. You can use this for interaction, and you can also use this to ask questions if you want to ask questions anonymously. You can also put the questions also on the comments on the YouTube comment section or the Facebook or Instagram comment section. And if you have any feedback or anything that you want us to know, you can put it on the Slido. And just to introduce for us tonight is Sister Sapphire. Sapphire is a big Kalu. And before I do an introduction about who she is and what she does, I just want to talk about some of the things that just a brief summary about what we're talking about tonight, and also to give us some research information that I have done. So parental involvement in a child's education is very, very important, because this shows, research has shown that this shows a significant performance and emotional well-being. And lack of support from parents, these can have different effects on a child, e.g. their self-esteem, also their education in school, and how they see themselves. And research consistently shows that children with engaged parents perform better academically, and also meta-analyzed by the Advert Family Research Project found that parental involvement is associated with higher grades, test score, and better school attendance. And disengaged parents, according to the National Center for Education Statistics, says that children whose parents are less involved in their education tend to have lower reading and math score. This is often linked to lack of encouragement and support at home. And this is why we're bringing this awareness and trying to bring up this community, so that we can all be empowered and support our children. And you might be wondering that what is me knowing about my child's education, and what is this got to do with a woman platform? What we then find out is, if your child is having issue in the education, this can affect you in whichever way, because you are going to be stressed, you're going to be concerned, and this can have different impact on your mental health, your physical health, and every aspect of your being. So which is why we're giving this awareness, so that you are empowered and you're educated about how you can support your child in this studies. So like I said, if you have any questions, please don't forget to put it in the comment section, and any feedback, also put it in the Slido. And with no further ado, I want to introduce our guest for tonight. Her name is Sapphire. She's a dedicated professional who owns a degree in French education and inclusive education, along with a PGCE. So she's a teacher in French education, and as a qualified childminder and an experienced teacher, she brings a wealth of knowledge and compassion to her current role in home educating their daughter. Sapphire is passionate about creating inclusive and supportive learning environments tailored to each child's unique needs. And tonight with us, as I said before, is Sapphire Kalu. Hi, Auntie.
Hi, Debbie.
How are you? Sorry about the delay.
It's okay. I think I need to mute one of these ones.
Yeah.
So which one?
Let's see. Let me mute you here, or reduce the volume here. You're getting feedback. Okay.
So which one? You muted me on the StreamYard.
I'm in StreamYard.
Okay.
Yeah.
But I can't find myself again on StreamYard. Am I there?
Oh, you're still here. I'm still seeing you here. I can meet you on my side on StreamYard.
Okay.
Yeah, I've meet you on StreamYard.
Yeah, I can see.
Okay.
So I'll be, what do you call it, tossing through both screens. So bear with me.
Yeah. So, like I said before, for people that are just joining in, if you see myself and Auntie Sapphire looking down, we've got people on YouTube on this end and on Instagram also. We're trying to link up like we normally do, but Instagram is having an issue currently to link up with StreamYard for us to be able to pair up the both platforms together. Anyway, going on. So, Sister Sapphire, I just want to ask you to do an introduction of yourself because I know you've been in the education industry for a few years now. Well, how did you get into the education industry, and what do you enjoy about education? Like when it comes to teaching young children, what is it that drives you into going into this field?
Okay. First off, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to be sure.
Yeah, I can hear you.
First off, well, please tell me, check if StreamYard you can hear me.
Let me see.
That's there.
On StreamYard, yeah, now I can. I think what you can do is like what I did. You can reduce yourself on StreamYard the volume.
Okay, let's see.
Yes, so that's what I did. I reduced myself.
I'm still getting a lot of feedback. Okay, well, let me take this down.
Yeah,
Can you hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. What about now? For you,
Yeah, but there's an echo, so I'm just trying to make sure.
You know what? Let me mute you. If it doesn't work on StreamYard, I'll just use this and then transfer it. The one we have in front of us, the Instagram one, and just transfer it on YouTube later on.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's so. Yeah. Okay. So my background. Well, what made me go into teaching? First, I love education, and actually, when I was much younger, I thought I'll be a doctor, but I wasn't doing so well in physics and chemistry, so I kind of like switched to education. I was like, okay, I always want to teach, and I also love languages. So as I got into education, I told my parents, "Oh, I want to teach," and he was like, "Oh, that's fine because you come from a family of teachers." My grandfather was a teacher, then 3 of my aunties, actually an uncle and 2 aunties were teachers. So that's how I got into it. Then finished my degree, and I was like, "Oh, what else can I do with it?" And I said, "Okay, let me." Then there was this thing about special needs in children. I did my master's in it in Glasgow. After that, I was like, okay, I would like to have a teaching experience here. I did my PGC, and I did it in French education, where I taught children secondary school. After then I now said, okay, I want something more, homely, head of child minding. I was like, oh yeah, because it's like, okay, let me do child minding, and I did it. Yeah, I did it. I started in 2015, and I just stopped during the pandemic. So yeah.
Oh, thank you so much for sharing over the years how you've gone into teaching and everything. You mentioned that you stopped, and I also knew that you are a qualified child mother. You have that as your business and everything. Over the years, when you've been a teacher and also being a child minder, what are the issues that you've noticed that as parents affect children? So do you think that the parents are doing a lot when it comes to education for their children, or you feel like there's more that parents can do when it comes to the education at home?
Well, during my year, I've met different types of parents. There are parents that really focus on their child's education. There are parents who are not aware, and parents that are too busy to understand what is going on in their child's education. So it's not like how do you put it, like a one type of issue. Several issues. And if you look at parents who might not pay attention, it was something that is distracting them, something as simple as work related. So they can't put it in that time. I remember, I think my approach during child minding was quite different. It wasn't just play. There was some form of structured learning. Remember, I looked at one of the children, and when he went to school, the parents were like, who raised this boy? Because he was so, by age 3, he could write his name. He knew his numbers. He could write some letters legibly. And they were almost, by the time I was going to the nursery, they're like, oh, wow, she's really, So that's the sort of impact I chose to make, not just the regular play, everything. There's some parents who, yes, because when you're child minding, you have to go use the milestones. And then you have to check those milestones. And at the same time, when you're checking those milestones, you also check the background of the child. Know why, if they're not meeting these milestones, what is the problem? Yeah, not just a tick box thing, but also trying to make sure the child reaches those milestones just that were under my care. And parents' tips on what to do to reach those milestones. That somewhere now it's just a mix of different types of parents. Yeah, I told me up front, they would like their child to learn this, but there's some parents that were like, so I had different types of parents.
There's something that you said that was really stood out to me. You said there was a child that you were looking after. By the time they were age 3, they were able to write their names and do numbers and all that. Is there anything, a practical thing that you did that really helped that child that you want to share with us? A
lot of things that parents a lot of things that parents can do to help their children is what we call mark making. Just get a paper, let them do anything. Because if children keep seeing images of things, like for the alphabets, they see them, they know what the alphabets look like. Once in a while, they'll go and be trying to make those marks. So that's one thing I learned, giving them the opportunity to make those marks. Then at some point, those of you who were raised in Nigeria or say Ghana were introduced to what is called my copybook.
That's true.
I think I have some here. I can show you what it looks like.
Yes, please.
This one might not be the traditional one that we're used to. Let me see first. So like that. So I just got this one for our daughter. So like that. So I had some that I'll just photocopy, and give it to them just to kind of just trace on it. I'll just make boxes and he'll be writing. Because if you can learn the curves, the straights, and you are able to write all the alphabets. Yeah, it's just learning those curve strokes or S or right. So I focus more on the C's, so the C's, and you can do a C with that a small D, opposite of the C, which is the other way around. That are so simple. So I used to do that a lot, but also make it, not boring, not daunting. Making it fun as the child goes along. Because there are so many worksheets. Like currently, I'm doing that with our daughter. Once in a while, I give her things to do, and there are so many. What do you call it? Funny enough, I have something she did recently. So many things like something like this. Those are all the skills they need. It's like mark making. Never know when the skill of just going. So once in a while, I just throw that for her to do. So it's all those things, making it fun. Not just like circles, even doing simple tracing, things like tracing a rainbow. All those, also coloring them. Yeah, so it's all those little. Yeah.
For parents that might be on here that don't know how to get these resources, because I know for myself, you just shared the link with me, and then myself and another sister of mine, we just went to print it out, and we have like an old booklet that we use. But for some people that are not in the same situation as me, that they are here tonight and they want that like those resources that you've mentioned, can you tell us places that they can get this, please?
Okay, just broke up. Well, now everything is online. Like I met this website called Twinkle that I've always used. There's a subscription bit and there's also free one. So you can have access to it. Sometimes I just go online. Now everything's online. Like tracing worksheets. But I say tracing worksheet for a 3-year-old. It's the, pencil control. Because, as they're doing all that tracing too, the child is also learning to hold a pen. Some might do the palm grip. Some might do it different ways. But the more they do it, the more they learn to hold. And you see these pencils, the reason why I like them, it kind of like tells the child to hold them. That's what I saw like that. So if they're online, there's so many resources online. Like I said, Twinkle is a good place to get some of them. A lot of them are quite free. I'm not subscribed to it, but I have a lot of resources. Just sign and Twinkle is spelled WINKL.
Let me type it. WINKN. So WINKN.
TWINKL.
KL. Okay. Oh, okay. Thank you. You've put it up. So those, you can go on that website for resources for your children. So for that platform, what age range are the children?
It's from even 0 to, I think there's even till secondary school.
Wow.
It's a huge resource.
Oh, that's really good. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Thank you. Someone saying that Tinku is fantastic.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Even it is. It's as in you can whatever you can think. I say outdoor, winter. I know we are here. We have season, but whatever. If you say you want your child to do maths, different ones. Yeah. They're a great resource.
Wow. Oh, somebody, I'm just looking back on people's comment. Hi, Moni. Okay, so not to get distracted. Oh, thank you so much for sharing that. Viola said Tinku is fantastic. Thank you so much. So what are the things that, because you mentioned before that some child might have, like, maybe they might be struggling. So what are the things that we have to look out for us to identify that, okay, you know what, you need to do more. You need to do more for a child. Maybe, for example, you have a toddler and you feel like, okay, they're not meeting a milestone. How do we know they're not meeting this milestone? What are the things that we need to be looking out for? Are there like a platform that we can know that, okay, these are the milestones that you have to make from this age to this age, from that age to that age, that you want to recommend for us or that you want to talk about?
Okay, so in the UK, there's this milestone. It's called Birth to 5.
Okay.
So it's a website. On there, you can see the milestones according to the ages of the children.
Okay.
So it's like 0 to 6, 6 to 12, or 6 to 9. So So currently, there are also apps. Like there's this app that I signed up, but once in a while I look at it because it had good reviews. It's called Kinedu. KINEDU. It's like kin and edu together. So once in a while I go there just to see, it's my daughter going up. So for instance, now, like they might say, should be able to, I'm looking at the age she is now. So let's say she should be able to, looking at one that maybe she has not. Okay, something as simple as be able to play with Play-Doh, to make us with Play-Doh. So does she do that? I'll think, okay, can she make? Okay, if she can't do that yet, then I have to make that provision. All you do is just get Play-Doh. All of you play with it. Let her, let her fiddle with it. Let her do whatever she wants with it. And with time. So, now when it gets to like the more complex, sorry for using the word complex. So maybe something that's like maybe speech delay or language delay, because there's a different. there's a difference. So when you talk about speech delay, sometimes the words are in the child's mind. Child doesn't know how to bring it out. So the child may be a late talker. So that's what delay. The child will be saying words, but you have an understanding, but the words are not really formed, but you know what the child is saying. Now, when there's a language delay is when there's no understanding and there's no communication and there are no words. So there's a speech delay and there's also a language delay. So it comes to that case. Like I had a friend who called me one time and she was telling me, if you still talks like a baby, and I asked her, what do you mean by baby? And she was like, oh, when my children were her age, she was like, when my boys were her age, they were talking. I was like, she's different. Talks to you. Do you understand what she's saying? And she's like, yes, but it's like a baby talk. And I said, what she goes to nursery, what are nursery people saying? She said, oh, they've not said it. That means they've not picked up on it. And I feel okay. And another thing I asked her to was like, do you speak another language? Because I'm trying to remember which country she's from, East Africa. And she was like, no, it's just English. So I was like, don't worry, let's give it time. One, she's going to nursery, and the nursery staff have not complained about it. It's not something to worry about, but just give it a few more, what do you call it?
Time.
And I was like, oh, do you play things like Miss Rachel? She said she tried, but the girl is bored. So I was like, apart from Miss Rachel, there are other good ones. Like CBBS is there. You have what's her name? She has just flown off my head now. There's Yakadi. Yeah, that's a good one. Because that's one of the ones I started with my daughter. So she was like, okay, she'll give it a try. So yeah, so those are the, some underlying factors like these things. But anything they say, if you look at those milestones and just relax, don't be too beat up about it, because sometimes you don't know that is what your child is meant to do. There are sometimes I look at some of them and I'm like, I don't think she can do this at this age. And I keep on doing it. And when she gets, I'm like, oh, yeah. So that's it. So knowing milestones, trying to make sure, this is especially when they are not in school, like the ages of 0 to 3. Even if they are in nursery, it's still, yeah.
You've said a lot of things that is very, very helpful. I know you mentioned some of the resources that can help children. Like some of them you've told myself that I use for our son, like Yakadi is one of the things that he used growing up. And he's even still watching Yakadi today. He was like asking for Yakadi, and it's been really, really helpful. For people who don't know Yakadi, like Auntie said before, he's on BBC iPlayer, and I think you can also watch on YouTube. So what he does, Yakadi, what the girl does is, maybe there's a word that comes on, maybe let's say cup, for example, and then it will say it again. So there'll be like children saying cup, and there'll be another particular child, yes, that is not saying it. So until that child says cup, they're not moving on to the next word. So it will say it with me, and then they will say cup eventually. And once the last child says cup, they then move to the next word and then say that the whatever word is next on the line. I'm not sure if there's anything that Auntie wants to add to that for people that might be wondering what Yakadi is about.
Oh no, that's it. Because even is different words. Different words. That's even recently, yes, late last year, they started adding sounds, so phonetics. Yeah, so that's it.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And one of the questions that I wanted to ask you, because you said that we have to make it fun for the children when they are learning. So what does fun look like when they're learning? Because I'm sure some children might be like, yeah, they can get into it, but they can get distracted and just think, oh, it's time to play. So when you say fun, what does fun look like when they're learning? Is there anything that maybe you've done for your daughter or you've done for other children that in your care that helped? And what are the challenges that we can face while we're teaching children at home?
So learning being fun, first of all, it has to be very simple. It has to be age specific and something, that doesn't take too long, because young children, age 3, their attention span is quite, unless it's something they really, 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 really like. And so just putting fun in everything you do, like something as simple as making breakfast. For instance, if you are frying eggs, you can go like, oh, we're going to fry eggs today. Can you help me get the eggs? Let's put them in a plate. Let's count the eggs. Then you go like 1, count with me, 2, 3, And so even like you also playing with them as well. Very simple things that are not so. I'm just because I'm thinking of things that we do with our daughter. Like now, she's into a world of Play-Doh. She's been on for like 2 weeks now, so everything now is Play-Doh. And when she's doing Play-Doh, we bought the accessories for Play-Doh, and learning is taking place. So like one day she came, she made something. She said, "Oh, I made a girl." Obviously, in your mind, it doesn't really look like a girl.
You have to agree that it's a girl.
You're like, "Oh, wow, this is beautiful." Then comes, I made a girl's daddy. You're like, "Oh, this is nice." And from there, you can, add other things to it. Like, oh, the girl has a, who else does she have? So, mommy, what does like do with? Then she said, as you're having that fun game, so there's extension going on with that game. So the extension is you're bringing in family. You can even about what do you love about your family? Oh, I love my family. I have mama. I have daddy. Making it fun. Let everything be fun, but make sure it's age specific. For instance, now she might not always want to do like what we call anytime she sees a paper, she calls it homework, because that's what her cousins, when we traveled home, were doing. So she came back, I want my own homework. That's when we started giving. There might be some days you might think, oh, let's do that, and she doesn't want to. So what else can you do to replace that? Come up with things that short, quick. And one thing about children, they love outdoors. They love outdoors. They also love it when you're also on the floor with them. Because I remember when she turned 2, at some point she'll be doing something, I'll be on my phone, and next she just say, "Mama, put your phone down." So get games, fun games, ball games, anything, puzzles, storybooks. Yeah. Just make it exciting, and always make sure it's age specific. Yeah.
Age specific is the big key.
You can't a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old task. No. Yeah.
I know that you're currently homeschooling your daughter. For anyone that might be on here and they are thinking the same thing, or they're thinking, oh, what are the things that to do? How like for someone that might be thinking, what are the challenges that someone can face, and also how can a parent or a grandma or grandpa, how can they help so that the child is all-rounding meeting what they should be meeting? I know you mentioned about outdoor, making things specific for the child, but is there any challenges that you can have when you're doing this at home and just making sure they're up to date with what they is expected of them to be up to?
Okay, now the official age for school in the UK is 5 years.
Yeah.
So between that time and 5 years, so let's say between 0 to 5 or 1 year to 5 years, everything is done through play. Because it goes through play. But you can bring a bit of structure. Like in our house, we have certain areas. Well, no, your house is not that, you've been to our place. So for instance, now we have a wall, what do you call that? Like a sticker by the blackboard. And there's chalk. So she goes there and sometimes she's making mark making. Like yesterday, she drew some circles with some, I don't know how she learned how to do it. Drew circles with legs and arms. And she'll say, "Oh, that's you, that's." So as they are doing these things, because the basics for children, I think from age 3 is knowing simple things as colors. The thing is also knowing what your child is meant to learn as specific. At age 3, it's colors, just basic colors, and shapes. They might not be able to spell, but when they see, they can see this is a shape.
That's right. Okay.
Yes. So first of knowing all those milestones. That's why I went back to the milestones. Knowing, then adding it to everyday life. So we can talk about, what does that roof look like? Oh, it's a triangle. Oh, it's a square. Oh, really? Is it a square? So look at it again. It's a triangle, but always connecting them back to their learning. So anybody that wants to start homeschooling, you don't need to be qualified. Honestly, do not need to be qualified. First off, know the basics, what the child is meant to learn at each stage. Once you know those basics, then you are okay. But if you know that your child knows those basic things at those certain ages, that's when you need to ask. And we always have the health visitor tell the
check.
Yeah, we have the health check here, especially in the UK.
Yeah.
So it's what do you call it? Those milestones and applying them is nothing too big. It's when they are over 5. That's when you have to go. Now it's up to you. You can do the curriculum-based homeschooling, or do it a bit here and there. Some people choose to do it a bit here and there and don't disturb themselves so much about unnecessary subjects. But it's good for the child to have an all-round form of education. Yeah. So that's it. But you don't have to be qualified to homeschool. And like I said, 4 to 5 years is mostly play. It's when they turn 5 that's when you now start checking all, because you know you have the grading system. Really starts between when they are in year 11. But between then in primary school, you have to follow the curriculum if you want to, or also strengthen them in subjects you think that they will need. Yeah.
I like that you not only speak about the 0 to 3, you also spoke about after, when they are 5 and above, and not focusing, like being all rounder when you're teaching them, and also looking at their strengths, identifying that, okay, these are the things I've identified about my child, and try to encourage them and strengthen them in that subject to encourage that. I like that. I like that. So when we talk about creativity in the context of learning, why is it important for a child?
Naturally, human beings are creative beings. When children are born, they are born with their creativity. And there are things in them that need to come out. Because if you look at the world today, everybody, sorry, that's the wrong word to use. People are content creators. If you look at the world we're in, apart from creativity is just, simply put, bringing out your own ideas from something else. And children are, like, I remember when we gave our daughter a set of pots and pans for her first birthday, just to see what she do. She played it with it. The next day, she turned it over and started making. So the original purpose for that pot was to sell, maybe to make food or something, but she turned it into a musical instrument. That's her being creative. And we see it in our children all the time. You might give them something, and sometimes she would want to, do something. I'll go like, no, that's not the way. Then sometimes I'll just hold back and go like, oh, she's being creative here. It's her and being at work. Let her imagine. Because she's at the stage where she's exploring, she's imagining, she's doing. And what we have to do is to guide. But when she's a bit older, that's when you tell her it is actually supposed to be this way. Like now, the way she writes her number 3, when I look at it, I'm like, this number. And she will tell me that's number 3, and I'm like, okay, but in my world, that's not number 3. She's creative with her 3. And there's a way she writes her A. She does a straight and curves the other part. And she tells you that's her A. And I'm trying to tell her, no, A is supposed to be straight that way. She's being creative. She's coming up with her own ideas. And going back to the Play-Doh thing, that's another place where you see children being creative, even with art. Nothing about being creative is also being able to connect their learning with their environment. Like the extended learning about the Play-Doh from child to daddy. Yes, it's being creative there. Yeah, creative play is really, really important because it helps them problem solve too. It helps them find a way of bringing out solutions or creating solutions for a problem. It might not be the way to do it, but the person has found a way of solving that problem.
Oh, it's good that you mentioned that. So can you give us an example, even if it's children that you being a teacher or a child mother, can you give us an example of when you've seen somebody using their creativity ideas to like shows a significant impact on the child, like what you said about it make them like critical thinking and solve problems? Is there an example that you've seen that you want to share with us?
Well, not necessarily an example, but in the sense of how do I put it? So it's like an extension of what has been done. Like our daughter does a lot of puzzles. And there's a time when she used to get frustrated especially when she's doing the building blocks. And they are not stacking up all together. And I'll try to show her how to do it, and she told me, no, this is how she wants to do it. So I used to tell her then, when she finished solving the puzzle, I tell her, look, if you can solve this puzzle, you can also do this block. Just start by doing it this way. So she'll watch what I do. Then she'll also build her own. So by tackling that problem of the puzzle, she was able to extend that knowledge to doing that. So it also can reflect, because when you're teaching children or you're impacting a child, you're not thinking about like school, you're thinking about the future. Some of us, if not most of us, if not all of us, there are values our parents put in us that we're able to thrive in society. Not necessarily what we learned at school.
That's true.
So it's taking those skills and transferring them to other things.
Transferable skills.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for that. I'm thinking on everything you've said. Like being able to, they might not be able to do what you're expecting that they do, but showing them how to do it, and also those skills that they've learned, they're able to transfer it to other aspects of their life, not even only when they're young, even when they're much older. That will be very, very beneficial to them and important also as they grow up. And this does not only, I'm sure that you agree, that this does not only got anything to do with just toddlers. It goes all the way to when you're older. I don't know if you want to also talk about for older children, maybe they're in primary school or in secondary school, how creativity can impact them in their learning.
Well, it can, because with being creative, you're able to do things the way you are. What do you call it? You are able to do. For instance, when it comes to learning, there are different ways of learning. There are different styles of learning. Even we, as adults, we have our own ways of doing things. By child learn creativity, especially you can see this expressed in art. draw a picture of something, and maybe the child decides to do theirs in a different way. And when you look at it, oh wow, this is really, different from. So, being creative also builds their confidence. It's them able to express themselves the way they want. And sometimes too, in the world, people might not understand them, but that's just the way they, how do I say, express themselves. So being creative is very good. It's a good thing to encourage our children to be creative, asking them questions, praise them for whatever they do. It's funny, especially when they are young and they're exploring. Just praise them and guide them. So, yeah.
I know you mentioned some of the things that can help with creativity. You mentioned Play-Doh. You mentioned about the tracing and the board. Is there any other things that can help a child's creativity that you want to mention to us?
Well, outdoors is a good one. Going outdoors. Nature. Building blocks too is okay. Because building blocks, they can do whatever they want. And you just give them like something to play with. Like you can bring things as simple as things like buttons, pebbles. Just give it to them to play. A child will explore and bring out play. That's the kind of things, not giving them the everyday things. You want to bring out creativity in them. You can bring out things like a foil, a spoon, water, anything. There's nothing.
No limits.
Thank you. There's no limits or no fixed or
So they mentioned Lego.
Lego is a good one. Yeah. Yeah, there are lots of things. Even paint. See there. For some, like the paints that we have at home, we got the Mercy Free paint. And for those of us in the UK, I think this part of the UK, we have the shop called Home Bargains. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon. I remember I gave it to our daughter.
Yeah.
About the whole house, our glass doors on the fridge, and she was just scribbling everywhere. And that came back and was like, "What's going on in this house?" I was like, "Don't worry, we can wash it
creative."
She was just doing, having fun, just painting it. At some point, she got papers and was painting all over them. She was just expressing herself and saying what she's doing. So, lots of things for children, especially the under 5s. Yeah, lots of things. If you just let them be and be so bothered about mess. Some people, sorry to say, don't like mess, but
people like me.
I'm sorry, they will have to be messy.
So, can you tell parents that might be on here today, like, how can we set up our own environment in a way to encourage them to explore their imagination and like the critical thinking and everything you were talking? How can we set up our own environment? I know one of the things you mentioned is having like maybe a board and also let them express, giving them like a paint and brush. Is there any other ways that we can set up the home environment that it can help in enhancing that creativity and also helping in their imagination, like critical thinking?
So you can have things like a soft play area if your house is very small. You can have, like I told you, like there's a part of our wall where we have like the, what do you call it? The wallpaper, like blackboard, where she goes and okay, what just happened?
It's good. So what happened is, what happened? So now we finally were able to come on StreamYard and
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I don't know what happened to Instagram.
No, so what's happened is, we're having issue before. So now we've gone on Instagram on here, so we don't have to use that screen anymore.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah. So it is harder us on we are live on here.
Okay, because my phone has gone off. Sorry.
Let me see. If you can see here, or can you put it in the comment section, please? Hello? Yeah. Yes, we can. So now we don't have to be looking at two screens. We only need one screen now.
Okay, that's good.
I think Instagram is sorted out now.
Okay, so you can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So saying, you can have, what do you call it? Like play areas in your home. And as I said, like we have like that, what do you call it? Blackboard sticker. You can have even like what do you call it? Building blocks, Lego in another area. Now, if your space, you have art too. Like she has, like our daughter has a table where is this type of table that you raise it up underneath where she has her colors, everything. Now, another thing that will help is also rotating toys. So that they don't get hooked up on one, what do you call it? One type of set of toys. So you can bring puzzles out. Puzzles are very good for kids' critical thinking. Yeah, so they are amazing. And you can get them, for those in the UK, from charity shops. Like most of, if not all the puzzles we've gotten, we got them from charity shops. Puzzles are very good because it helps their minds. And it also gives them, the skill of finishing a task. Yes, because we rotate these puzzles and we just bring up, new ones. And she's like, oh, what's this? And, so having those, like I said, if you have a small place, all what you have to do is just rotate the toys. Rotate the toys. And as you're rotating them, just build learning or your communication around what the child is playing. Yeah. Yeah, so you might not have a big house. Some people have houses where they have a playroom dedicated for their children. We don't have that. We just have a tiny corner, which you've seen, and we have shelves where she has all the, So, yeah. So those are ways to help with creativity. But like I said, one of them is like rotating those toys. The more you rotate, the more what's the word? You touch the different areas of your child's learning.
You went off towards the end, but I like what you said about you don't have to have a big space for it to work. You can do what you need to do with the space that you have. And like you said, charity shop. I bring charity shop. They are so cheap. You can get things like £1. Auntie told me about charity shop getting puzzles. You can get puzzles as cheap as £1, and there's oh my god, it's not even just toddlers age. Even for adults, the charity shop, you can go to Barbados. There's different Barbados. Yeah, so there's different charity shop. You can just walk in and see there's loads and loads of puzzles that we're able to pick up from charity shop, and they're not even expensive. You can see some that are 50p for people. This is for people that are in the UK. Yeah. For people that are not in the UK, just do research and find out things in your area that can work, or you can order also on Amazon. So
I just remembered something. Sorry to cut it. Another thing that is also good for children's imagination.
Oh, you went off there. Books. You broke off. Sorry, Auntie. You broke off.
Books. Yes, reading is very good for a child's imagination. Reading takes them places. And there's something that is called like living books. Living books, like books that come into existence. Like there are some books that talk about like the weather. Like one of the good ones is a hungry caterpillar. That's what you call like a living book. So the child can relate that the hungry caterpillar kept on eating, then he went to sleep, slept for so long, he ate and was full, went to sleep, and from sleeping became a butterfly. So those type of books, yeah.
It's so funny you mentioned this book because we went to a reading club yesterday, myself and Noah, in our area, and that was the book they picked. So what they did was apart from the book, so they actually did like used to do the animals. So they used like puppets, and they also used she used all these soft things to I don't know if she did it. She created the caterpillar, was long. So she asked the children, and she put buttons as eyes. And then so she asked the children to go and touch the caterpillars, and then she used clothes to do the butterfly after, like scarf, but then she now made the scarf have colors, and it was so amazing. It was amazing for me to see, and the children even after were like so amazing, host parents. And after the end of the book, she then brought like all these plastic. I was gonna bring it. There's this plastic butterfly. She then asked the children to paint it. So all the things that she read in the book, she asked the children. There's this glass paint. She asked them to paint it, and then she gave them try to be able to hang it. And then she did leaves. She did leaves, and then also ask them to put the leaves and then put it on their hand and say blow, that the leaf is blowing when it's winter or summer, what happens. So she showed them different kind of leaves and said they should blow it. So it was so funny that you mentioned that. So so in your local area, just try and have a look, maybe go to the library, because I know there's some skills and some activities that happens in libraries that people can engage the children in, no matter what age they are. Is coming to the holiday period now. Somebody said, love the hungry caterpillar. Yes. So that they coming to summer holiday now. You can go to your library, your local library, and try and see some of the activities they will have on during the summer holiday. For my local area, they're already advertising now. Like when we went yesterday, there are things that they're already talking about that it will be happening over the summer holiday, even now that they have. So have a look in your local area, have a look in your in where you are, and see what is available, and you can engage your child there, no matter what age they are. Somebody said there is a market to supply this to people who don't know where to start or where to find the resources. Yes, you can reach out to Sapphire if you don't know where to find these out. And if you are maybe within the Mersey side and you don't know these resources, you can also reach out to her. You can reach out to myself about these activities that I'm talking about for summer. So you can reach out to her, you can reach out to myself. But in regards to these resources, I'll advise you reach out to Sister Sapphire, because that's who I go to get my own resources anyway. So you can reach out to her to get these resources. Another question that is being asked is, what role does outdoor play? Because I know you've mentioned about outdoor also, like children can also learn being outdoor. It says, what role does outdoor play, art, music, and exploration have in a child's learning, and how can parents incorporate this into their routine?
Wow, can you hear me?
Yes.
I think it's like a what do you call it? A delay.
Oh.
Well, outdoor, it's good for a child's physical development. Then another thing outdoor plays is good for children exploring nature and the world around them. It also builds their motor skills and their ability to tackle, especially for instance, if you go to all these playgrounds where they have all those slides where children are able to climb, and so their ability to overcome obstacles, these are also transferable skills. Then another thing too, it's also the ability to take risks. Because sometimes you see them climbing and your heart might be going, ooh, but as long as you're standing there and making sure that they don't fall, the more they do it, the more it builds their confidence and their ability to take risks. Then you also have, with art and music, is creativity. I mean, when it comes to art, is drawing, painting, doing things, dance, and it's just a way of expressing themselves. Like, music is very good. Like, there's one of the shows that our daughter watches. It's called Danny Go. I think I'm connected. I'll put it on the chat. It's an American guy who does a lot of dances. It's on YouTube. It's called Danny Go. And he does expressions, clap your hands, stomp your feet, beat, and she's able to, follow the beat, follow the steps. That's where she got most of her dance moves from. And we also join along. Sometimes she goes like, oh, put on this, and that we also join in. So it's good because it's building their, like I said, their motor skills. It's building also their fitness. It's even a way for them to express themselves. It relieves stress going outdoors. Even sometimes we as adults, when we are indoors too much and we're like, oh, let's just step out. There's this breath of fresh air we get when we go outdoors. So it's really, really, really beneficial for children. Their physical, growth, motor skills, knowing what do you call it, the world around them, and being able to understand like seasons and just nature in general. Yeah. So you also asked, how can parents incorporate this? Just almost everywhere in Liverpool. Well, at least I believe there's a park. I think they've made it in such a way that there's a park near your house, at least 5 minutes walk. So, excuse me. So even on your way to school, if your school is like 5 minutes walk, rather than driving, just take that walk. As you go along, go say, oh, can you see that tree? And oh, what color are the leaves? Just is it windy today? Is it rainy today? Just incorporate it. Or they come back from school and you're home with them, just take an evening walk. Or even if you can't do it during the week, the weekends are there, depending on how busy or less busy you are. So it's really, really good. Apart from that, definitely in school, they always go outside. But I don't think the outdoor in the park is the same as school. You understand? Because school is kind of like restricted and everything. Yeah, so just build it around your routine.
Build it around your routine. What works for you? Build it around your routine. Another question is, what are some ways to balance structured learning with creative freedom? I know you've mentioned some of them earlier.
Structured learning. So when you talk about structured learning, so like in schools.
Yeah.
Structured learning.
So like what you were saying, like school, or when you are trying to say, 1, 2, 3, ABC, that things that they have to learn. So how can we bring that into?
So now if you are talking about like children, so if you are talking about the young children, like 0 to 5, one of the best ways is through music. Through music, through like, so for instance, for maths now, there are a lot of activities you can do in math. Like when I talked about the baking thing, counting the eggs or everything. And we know that the end goal is for the child to learn maybe numbers 1 to 10. Like when we're getting our daughter to count from 20 to 21 to 20, from 20 to 30. What we started doing was, in the mornings, we used to sing about it. And another thing too that helped was playing videos around that number. And one of the videos that really help is School Prep. I think that's the name. Is on YouTube.
School company prep.
Yes, School Company Prep. That's
Yeah,
one of the best,
it's really good.
ones for counting. So structured learning, making it fun is especially for that age, is doing, and also making them spot the numbers amongst other numbers. That's another thing we do. So, for instance, can you find number 21 amongst all these numbers? Or even writing 2 and 1. So it's just always making it fun. But at the end goal is for the child to learn, the numbers or, yeah.
Always trying to find a way to make it work. It's prep school company. I'm trying to look for it.
School Company.
Prep school company. Let me put it on the YouTube.
You found it?
Yeah, prep school company. On YouTube. I'm just trying to write it out on YouTube. For anyone that is wondering what it looks like, it's really good. It looks like that. For anyone that might be wondering, I don't know if people can see my screen. It's like that.
That's the sight words one.
Yeah, that's the sight word one. That it shows even up to alphabet. It shows even alphabet for the children, and sight word is really good. That's one of the things that Auntie recommended for us that we use for our son, and teaches numbers also and words. Even now, like this prep school is really good because some of the words, even when maybe we're reading books or Noah sees something, because it learns about your, and immediately he sees you, say, "Mommy, your or you," because he's seeing those sight words. So when he's reading, he picks it out and say your, you. So it's a very good way also to incorporate that in your routine, like what Auntie was saying. There are different. And Auntie is giving us a lot of information on things that we can use that can help us to help our children, both older ones and younger ones. Even I feel like, Auntie, I don't know what you think. I feel like the prep school company can even help the older one that maybe they are struggling with reading.
Yes.
Like that can help them, because like it's really good in case you've not.
It can, because it has, if you look at it, it has different stages. So there's level 1, level 2, level 3, level 4, level 5. Yeah.
Yes.
Different stages.
Yeah.
There was one time, there was this what do you call it? There's a time on Instagram, I'm sure it's still there. A video popped up about a boy 2 years solving maths. And people were like, oh, I heard some people were so upset with their schools that how come this child at 2 years old can solve maths? He was doing, additions. And I had a laugh because I read about them, and the mom started playing that school prep ever since he was a baby. And obviously he's a genius because he learned how to write. And so this is to say that children learn at different stages. Children have different skills. That's another thing that we should also see in our children. If you look at that boy, because I remember it was a big thing. I remember some people came up asking, and I remember there's this homeschool lady that I follow, and she came out openly and said, my child is 2+. He can't even write all these numbers. So it's not like a norm that some children are geniuses. Some children are way above the standard level. But all the same, it's good to expose them to all these things. It's good to expose them to all these things. Some might take it on now, and in the future they might not really want to do it because it's not their thing. Now you can't force them to learn what it's not in their interest. Yeah. So it's knowing those things, building them up in our children. Yeah. Like for instance, now one of the things when our daughter was young, we tried Miss Rachel, but she didn't find her interesting.
Mm.
Then one of the things she just stumbled on was, "Hey, doggy."
Hey, dog is good.
And that was it. That's where she got most of her speech from, her words from, because you see her by age 2, she was reciting Nori did this, or sorry, these are characters in Hey Doggy. Hey Doggy is on BBC iPlayer.
A pizza player.
Yeah, and she'll tell you everything about them. Happy did this animal did this, doggy did this, they went to club today. So each child is different.
Mm.
That's another thing that we should have at the back of our minds. And they all develop at different stages.
Mm.
Yeah.
Mm. Yeah. Well, you said some things that I want to you to elaborate on and want to pick up on. You said that there's something that you said that the way I understood it, like children are like sponge. So if you want your child to be able to pick up more, you need to put the time in. Like you were saying about that child, that from the when the child was a baby, the parents were already playing like the sight word and playing some things, and they picked it up. And the more like some children learn, they're visual learners, and some children they learn by maybe doing and all that.
Yeah.
You have to identify what works for your child. Is your child a visual learner? Like for our son, we identified that he's a visual learner. He learns by seeing things. And I think that may be Peter from me because I'm a visual learner myself. So we understand that he's a visual learner. So when we're teaching, we try and like communicating with him using like pictures and talking to him using pictures to try and communicate what we were trying to pass across to him. And also, like children are sponge, whatever you give to them, they will soak it in. You might not see it at that point that maybe they taking in what you're saying, but eventually you just see that one day that they will just get on board. I remember there's a show that Auntie told us about, I can't remember which one now, that the first time when I was playing it didn't seem interested. And then one day we were just asking about it and like literally just like asking about it, and it was one of his favorite show that he likes watching. So you might feel like, oh, maybe they're not taking it in. Just keep at it and do it as the child pays. You will be surprised that one day that they will just come out and just like, wow, and it will make you worth it. I was saying before how he can pick you and your out. It wasn't like that before. It just all of a sudden one day, because we have like a painting in our downstairs toilet, and then he went to toilet and he was saying, mommy, you were speaking out the words that are there, and I was like shocked, and I was like, the journey coming from where we were coming from, and now that he was able to pick out words from when he was reading. So what am I saying? I'm just trying to encourage you that if you maybe you feel like, oh, you're talking to your child about something, or you're teaching them something, they're not picking it, or you think they're not picking it, or not necessarily that they're not, is they might, like Auntie was saying before, like some child, they is there. It's about when it will come out. So it's just helping them and guiding them in bringing it out. You might be thinking right now, oh, I don't have a child yet, but it might be your nephew, it might be your niece, it might be your cousin, it might be a child that is in your care. So just understanding that the information that we're giving now is not just for your child, it might be for another child that you might want to suggest all this information to. Just taking it on board also. I have a question that I don't know if there's anything you want to add to that, Auntie, before we continue.
Well, when you were talking and you were talking about learning, and I was like, yes, because if you see learning, or rather for a child, starts from the moment they come out of the womb. As in the things you do, the things you put in place. Simple things as because when Daisy was, from when she was a baby, we were always talking to her like we're talking to an adult. So we'll go like, oh, it's time to give you a bath, it's time to feed you, we're changing you, and you're speaking words, and these words, they're absorbing the words. And another thing too that we also set in place, which was very good, we still do it, is routines. So routines can be anything as simple as, okay, from when we wake up, we brush our teeth, or when we wake up, we go to eat. Then after eating, we brush our teeth. And after brushing our teeth, we play a bit. So when routines are in place, the children are aware of what is coming next.
Mm. Mm.
They're not like, okay, after brushing our teeth, what next? What's mommy going to do? What's daddy going to do? They are not confused.
Mm.
So routines are very, very good. Very good.
Mm.
Very good. Another thing too is that helped us too is this is for people who are, you know, have not had their babies or their babies are still very young. Another thing too that helped us, and this what came out of it was a bit of where the child learned independence. Now, what am I talking about? Was self baby led feeding.
Mm.
And with baby led feeding is where you give the child food to explore. We did that. It is very messy. And when we're doing, we followed solid start. So you give the baby different types of meals. According to them, from 6 months, they should try at least 100 types of food. And the beautiful thing about it is the baby can feel it, the baby can taste it, play with it, it's making food
Mm.
fun. And from there, the baby is like an independent, what do you call it, eater,
Exactly.
can feed
Mm.
himself. Yes, all those little, you don't really need to, wait till the child is old enough to kind
Mm.
of understand, putting
Mm.
all those things in place
Mm.
because it's like all those things are, the more you do them, the more they are leading to like a life skill.
Mm.
Yeah, so when we are with our children, we're not thinking of getting them ready for school. It's more like getting them ready for life.
Mm.
What am
Mm.
I teaching them now that they can
Mm.
apply it to life,
Mm.
not just in school?
Mm.
Yeah, so yeah.
Mm. Wow, I like what you just said now. Like when we're teaching our children, it's not just about getting them ready for school. It's about getting them ready for the world out there, for out there. I like that. I like that. And I know that you're a child mother and you're also a teacher. Well, in the UK, you did your training in the UK. Um, do you what are the challenges that you think children of Black and ethnic minority faces, you being a teacher over the years? What are the challenges that you think that they face?
Hmm. Wow. Now, okay, if I'm talking about a child born here,
Mm. You can talk for child born here and child not born here. Because of our audience, might have people that their child are not born in the UK or they're not born in the country that they're in.
hmm, with children born here, I don't, well, no. First off, if the parents have an understanding of the educational system here,
Mm.
they might not have as much challenges as children who just migrated
Mm.
here.
Mm.
One of the things they might face is, the normal one is the bullying, especially if they're the
Mm.
only ones. Um, they too might not feel. Well, it depends. Also, everything boils down on how you raise your children.
Mm.
It really boils down on how you raise your children because you have to raise them in such a way they are confident in themselves.
Mm.
We're in a country where, in quotes, we might be minority. It is what it is. But
Yeah.
how do our children see themselves in this world they are put in?
Mm.
So it's our duty as their parents to affirm them of their identity.
Mm.
Tell them who they truly are. You know, praise them, encourage them
Mm.
because school system can be really challenging, especially like I said, if they are the minority. I've had people who have told me in their past, especially their children have been, like the children go to school and they go like, if your hair is not in a ponytail, don't come and play. And your child's hair is not in a ponytail. I've had some who have told me that sometimes their children come home and they want attachments in their hair, that they don't like their hair. So it's all about affirming our children, their identity. I think that's one of the things that they struggle with. They could probably struggle with. Now the ones from the immigrant families, that's a different one. Why did I say that? Now, especially if they are coming in with children who are maybe like 7 or 5 years, well, they are coming from a different culture into another culture. That's what I'm saying, there could or there will be something such as a language barrier. What do I mean by that? Like the accent. Because what you hear on TV, let's bring you home to Liverpool, not what you hear Liverpool teachers say. So they will definitely struggle. They will definitely struggle with the school system for maybe a few months, few weeks. Some might just jump into it, I know, but some might not. There's also this aspect of you being like for children, being torn away from your friends that you've built a relationship with, and you've been brought into this place where sadly you might also be the only Black in your class, and you would now struggle to form new relationships.
That's so true.
Another thing too about culture too is this thing of, how do I put it? Like when you're talking to your parents, we don't do eye contact. There's a way you look away. You don't look at your parents. I don't know if it's changing now. And you can imagine a teacher talking to a child and the child is looking elsewhere. And the teacher is like, oh, what's wrong?
Down.
Yeah. And the teacher might not know, oh, that's a cultural thing because he's looking down out of respect. And you go like, oh, what's wrong with this child? So that's the aspect of the culture. Then another challenge too might also be the parents coming and they're on the ground running, working, taking more hours to fend for the family, maybe due to financial challenges, and they might not have time to notice what is going on in school. You might have teachers missing, parents missing PTA meetings, and they are not aware of how the child or their children is faring in schools. So there are quite a number of due to no fault of them, because I'm telling you, when you come here and you have that shock of some people just going, they take the jobs, there's this extra shift coming on, and they're like, I have to pay this bill, let me take it. And unknown to them, maybe their child is going through something. Then you also have the bullying, which is there. But with the case of bullying, it has to be reported. It's not something a parent should turn a blind eye to or go like, oh, it's okay, it's just they just said it doesn't matter. Well, as in document it and take it up with the staff. You have to take it up. Then also another thing too is the curriculum might be different. The curriculum is definitely different. It's definitely different. So so those are the challenges. Like I said, that language one is really, like I'm telling you, I remember when I went to Scotland for my master's, then my husband was my fiance. I called him after 2 weeks. I was like, oh boy, I'm going to fail this course. So I said, till today I've not heard something as simple as theory. They were saying theory, and I'm like, what is theory? What is theory? What is theory of it? Oh gosh. For 2 weeks, Debbie. And I know children pick up, but you can imagine that you are hearing clear British English and you come to Liverpool and if you can't even get the Liverpool accent and you are hearing and you're like, what's going on? So you see the child will now be struggling with school or because there's a language barrier or accent, but still language. So yeah, those are the kind of things.
It's so funny as you're talking, stories are coming in my head. There's a story that my father-in-law told us years ago because he's a nurse, and years ago when even the adults, even the older people face these challenges that you said. He was telling us that when those days they used to do like adaptation for nurses, and they came from people that came from different places around the world into the UK, and in the morning, the first week, they asked them in the morning, he said that their colleague that they will come around, they will ask them and say copati, that the lady was like, how can you be using copati? This is they are thinking there's a medical term that I'm like, how can you be offering us copati? What you're asking is a cup of tea. And then like, how can you be saying copati now? This is a medical term. How can you be offering it to us? But what they are asking is a cup of tea. And she's like, copati? What are you offering us copati? And it's just funny that this only does not even apply to just the young people, even the older people.
Yes.
Just thinking back also, even for me, I came into the UK when I was 15. And I can just remember like when I came in for the first few months, I wasn't talking to anybody. I'll just sit by myself. And I'm the only black girl in the old school. In the whole of my school, I was the only black girl. So imagine you coming into the school, you're the only black girl, and you're still trying to understand what they're saying. I would just keep quiet. My teacher had to call my parents and say, does this girl talk at all? Until when we are in the math class, that I will raise up my hand and say, oh, like when they say something, I'll raise up my hand. Oh, I know it. And then I will say, and they realize that she can talk, or she do talk, and all that. So there are things that like when you are just what you're saying about a change of environment, a change of culture, or change of language. Also, that's one of the barriers that children can face. And you mentioned also about hair or their appearance, identity. For myself, one of the issues that I face, like when I first went, like when first few weeks when we go into the country, coming in, I had my braids on, and this is like how many years ago, and then a few weeks later I took my braids out, and there's nobody, like it's hard for you to find a black hairdresser to do your hair, and my mom put my hair in like the
thread.
Yes. My mom put my hair in thread. And I was like, I'm not going to school like this. No way. I am dare not going to school this way. And she was like, you're going to school like that. I said, Mommy, I'm not going to school this way. You have to get me a wig. So she got me a wig, and I had a wig on my head. Oh my God. Like, we finished RE already. I'm the only black girl. I'm trying to make friends. And this person is wondering, why come this week this girl had this kind of hair? Another week, she's got a wig. That's how the guy took off my wig and was running around the whole with my wig in his hand and going like this. Like literally, I wanted to cry. In frustration, I took my wig from him. Like I was shouting that he should give me my wig back. Like I was so embarrassed, and everybody think it was funny. They were laughing about it, and that really like everything that was said. All my classes after that, I did not hear anything. All I was thinking about is how everybody in school knows that I wear wig. I wore wig to school, and this and that. And all saying this is just for parents or uncles or auntie, grandpa, grandma, just for us to be aware, like these children might be young. You might think that, oh, you're too young. What do you know? What can you be facing? It's just us listening to them, because though they are young, there are challenges they might be facing, even for people that are born here. I'm sure, Auntie, you have one or two stories that you can say about bullying, and this can affect a child's development and even their education also. I'm not sure if you have anything to add to that, Auntie, if there's any story or things that you've heard about children being bullied in school and how this can have impact on their studies.
Yeah, I remember there's one of the children I looked after, and it was both ways. He was also very naughty, and he faced that, and he had to be pulled out of school. I think he had issues, but but you look at it, his parents were separated, so it was really affecting him. And in some way he felt that it would be a way to get his mom's attention, because his mom she was a high profile lawyer. So she was always busy, and I think he was also on the spectrum. And once they put you on that spectrum, everything they go like, oh, this is it, this is it, this is it. And I remember one of the days, the first time she brought him to me, I was like, what's going on here? No, atom of manners, nothing. I was like, wow. And I'm talking about someone that was like 8. And he would just throw tantrums, shout. I think I just observed him for 2 days, and after 2 days I told him, as long as you're in my house, no shouting, please. And he was shocked. And I was like, he will talk to me and I'll ignore him, and I said, till you say please or excuse me, you're not going to get anything from me. So while we had to be doing that, the mom was looking for a school to put him in, and she came to me one day and she was like, oh, he's really changed, he's so polite now, he says excuse me, he says thank you. And so I could see it, because at some point you could tell that because she's a busy mom, because, she wasn't kind of like, will I say doing things, because at some point she was sending his homework to me to do. And I was like, no, I'm not supposed to do this. So I remember, how it to be a one-off, before I knew it became a constant thing. I was like, no, I'm not going to be. Not that I couldn't do it, but I wanted her to also,
want to empower her.
Yes. I was like, no, that he can do it at home with you. He doesn't need me to supervise it. So I kind of like hands off on it. And I remember there was one time she kept on calling me the whole day. What was the problem? She forgot to give me his medication, and she thought he would act out in the house. And I was like, he's okay. He's not. She'll call every 10 minutes. Is he okay? And I can't tell you that, because it's a prescription and it's not in my place, to tell you that sometimes this medication is really not good for the children. Sometimes, not all. That's why I'm being careful. Because that my phone, I was like, every 20 minutes, has he acted out? And I'm like, he's here playing, he's not acting out, he's just being. And she was just, so worked up because she didn't give me his medication for that day. And you can see sometimes when you don't give these children attention, they act out. Sometimes it's bullying, sometimes it's being, because if you hear his cases, I was like, really? And I was just observing him, and I was like, wow. And then the interesting thing is that, not that I'm being funny, he's very cute, he's not so big, and I'm like, wow, this is interesting. But all the changes here and there, was a positive, influence in his life. Yeah. Till his mom got him another school, and he now moved on. Yeah. So
from what you said, I just want to, I don't know if you agree or disagree, or anything you want to add. It shows to me that as parents, as carers, as grandparents, as aunties and uncles, niece, nephew, whoever we're caring for, we have a part to play in their development. And we also and I don't know if this is true. I've heard people saying that the way your child will present in front of you is different from the way they will present in front of somebody else. Like, for example, a child that maybe at home, there are some things that they do or they don't do, and then when they go to nursery, they are doing that. In a way, I agree and I disagree, because I feel like what you're saying, having that discipline in place, I might be wrong, you can correct me, it's like you put something in place for that child that, you know what, as long as you are here, you're going to say please, thank you, you're going to do this. If you don't do this, this is what is going to happen. So does that mean that even children at a young age, they understand consequences and they understand discipline and putting like kind of a something in place for them? Because we
Yes,
can see them say, oh yeah, they're just a baby. Oh, it's just a child. Oh, let him get away with it. He's just a child.
yes, baby, it's not babies, children do, because when you're raising children, then there's a need for boundaries. Because if boundaries are not in place, how would they learn? How would they learn that there's a consequence? Even with our daughter, there's some things she does, and I'm like, because you did this thing, you're not going to get this, or you're not going to do this. And you say, oh, mama, I'm sorry. She can say sorry a million times. And I'm like, because obviously there has to be a warning before you correct. There has to be a teaching on that thing. So if they do something the first time and it's their first time, you go like, oh, you're not supposed to. Then the warning comes. Don't do that again, because if you do it, so she knows she can say the sorry. And as she's saying, and trust me, I don't waste time. I call the dad. I say she did this today, so just in case, know that because she did this is. Do you understand? Now the thing with, like what you said, you agree and not disagree, is now, for instance, in school. No, this thing that even you hear pastor say it, that why is it that children sit down in nurse, but at home they don't sit down? See, that's where the boundaries come in. Because at home it's like, it doesn't matter where they, and sometimes maybe the parents are even too stressed to even, carry out, or maybe they are like, because I've seen people, I've talked to people, what's the word, corrected, told them, oh, this is how you do it. Tell the child, just sit down. And maybe not being consistent about it, because it can be tiring if you've not been doing something. Like, for instance, telling a child to sit down, and all of a sudden you are doing it. They're like, but normally you don't tell me to sit down. Why you? They will test it. They will test it. And if you get tired of reinforcing that good thing, they'll fall back into, do you understand? How do I put it? What you've been doing or what you're not doing. So everything's about reinforcement. Reinforcing that behavior, reinforcing that act. And always letting them know that, because Debbie, in life there are consequences. It's like I said, it's not about school, it's about the future. Yeah. It's about the future. So that's where sometimes that might happen. In school, they are all, but at home, it's like, it can't be. Let's just, as it goes. And there are some homes like that. I've met people like that. At home, it's like, and sometimes I'm like, oh, no, you'll be fine. No, don't worry about it. I'm like, okay. Yeah. It is what it is. The first atmosphere of a child being raised is the home, and that is outside. Yeah.
Just in rounding up, what can you give us 5 tips that you can give parents whose children are being bullied, that it can help them maybe in tackling it, in approaching it, and also maybe in helping a child also? You know what, let me do it two ways. So give tips on how a child that is being bullied, how can the parents support and help, so that the child is able to trust, so that next time they can come, they know that our mommy is not going to go and make things worse for me in school or this and that. And also, how can parents empower their children that they are not, even if they're in that position, they're able to speak out and ask for help?
Like the first tip is get as much information as you can. Write it down. Ask questions. Don't brush it away, no matter how, even if it's something as simple as they pulled my hair. And you go like, oh, it's just a pull. Just no. Investigate it. Talk to a teacher about it. Document it. Ask your child, were you in that person's space? Is there a way you could avoid that person? If yes, avoid that person. If he repeats again, document it, raise it. This time, raise it to a higher authority in the school. That document report is very important. Then always ask your child. Because there's no way, because also the way we also react, how do we react when our child tells us they've been bullied? Are you like, what were you doing that you were, or are you like, oh really, what happened? Explain to me what happened. What was the situation? What was the scenario? Really, why do you think he did it, or why do you think she did it? Then assuring the child that you have their back as well, that you are there for them, and letting the child know that you are taking it up. Then, like I said, reporting it, because it's when you report it and nothing is being done, that's when, because now the different types of bullying. The other one too might be like the maybe laughing at my type of hair, or this was the non-physical ones, or let's say teasing me or something. Also, it goes back to reaffirming your child of their identity. Telling them, oh, why they were created the way they are, why what's the word? Our advice, don't do things just to cover it up. So maybe they are teasing your child about her hair, and maybe just to cover it so that it doesn't take away the fact that is your child's hair. So teaching the child to embrace their identity. And but like the one that is really, what do you call it, that is taking it up, because I don't think there's any other tip for that one. Just you have to take it up. You have to take it up.
Oh, thank you so much for that. I should talk. Maybe remember when I was in year 9 and I had breaks, and then one of my classmates in a textile class, like test people that did always like when you sewed, the whole creative class.
Yes.
He was going to cut my hair with the scissors, and he was joking around with this and saying he was going to cut my hair. So I went home, like my mom was just asking me, oh, so how was your day? What did you do today? I was just telling her jokingly, can you imagine this boy said he wants to cut my hair? My mom was like, are you put your hair there for him to cut your hair? I was like, no, you didn't cut it. Joke. I didn't. Like the next day when we were going to school, my mom followed me to school. I went to go and meet my teacher and said that, is she aware that somebody said they were going to cut my hair? And that she's not happy about that, and that should not be something that they should be laughing about, that they should want to cut my hair with the scissors. So I find it embarrassing. Like she said she was going to go to school, like I was feeling like a big girl, like year 9. I find it embarrassing, but in the long run I understand that I can't say to somebody else I'm great, I'll cut their hair. So why do you think it's okay for you to say you want to take scissors and cut my hair? Initially when she went to school, I didn't understand. I was like, she's going to school to go and embarrass me. Everybody will now be talking about it. But when we go back home and she explained to me the reason why she had to come to school to come and like do that, I didn't understand that, okay, this is the reason why. And it's like what you were saying about when we're doing something, like what's our reaction when our children say something to us? How do we react? And do we explain to them the reason why we're doing what we're doing, so they know that mommy is not just saying it's just to make the other children think less of me or be mean to me or this. Like, let them know the reason why you're doing what you're doing, and know that the reason why is because I care, and so that you are not taken for granted or and know that the same way Deborah's hair is it's important, it's special. That's the same way Sapphire's SO is also important and nice and all that. No hair, someone's hair is better than the other person's hair. Yeah. So I don't know if there's anything that you want to say in rounding up.
Well, just like people say that you only have 18 summers with your children.
Wow, 18 summers.
Summers, yes. So just make sure that you spend time with them. It's really good. Spend time, get to know them. Study your children. I remember one of the words we received this year was to study Adizi, and we've been doing that. And in studying your children, you get to know them. Ask questions. Like, I know you were talking about making them, allowing our children be curious. Allow them ask questions, and always don't be afraid to tell them, oh, I don't have the answer, but I'll find out and get back to you. And no matter how, let's say, bad the question is, don't shut them up for asking the question. Like, for instance, if they ask a question, maybe you feel they are too young to ask you a question about sex or something like that. Don't go like, why are you asking me that kind of question? Because asking questions builds their curiosity. The more they ask, the more they get to know. It's best they know about things from you than from outside. It's best.
It's so funny that you touched up on. I know you only touched on it briefly, but since you've touched about it, we'll round up with that. You said that when they ask us questions, we should answer them, even if they ask us about sex. I know in the world that we are in right now, there's different information and children going to school. Being a teacher and also being a mom also, at what age would you say is appropriate to start talking about sex with our children? So when I mean sex, it doesn't necessarily have to be the act of it or something like, because we see these days even children as young as 3, 2 getting abused. So at what age is it appropriate to start talking about this thing, and how can we approach it?
I think for us, well, I think we have somehow started now as she's 3, telling her nobody can touch you, you understand, here or there. Even we started with nobody can touch your hair. So if you notice, even when we go out and people try to touch her hair, she ducks. And sometimes she tell you, no, don't touch my hair. She's, she has beads on her hair. And sometimes children want, and she goes like, don't touch my hair. So that's what you can start from. Don't go into don't go anywhere with anybody. And she's stranger aware, which is interesting because we've really trained her that way. So you can come and be warming up to her. She'll not allow you. She'll go like that first. And I used to be so like embarrassed. Why is she doing? But I'm like, in a way, it's helping her. People might go like, why? But she'll not allow you touch her like that. So those are the kind of things when they are aware of their body parts. So like they know their head, they know their. Do you understand? Yeah. And all this learning can take place when you're giving them a bath. It's only mommy and daddy that can bath you, or at this tender age, just So I think it's then as they grow older, because I don't know when was it not in Scotland they wanted to make sex education compulsory at age 4? Is it 5? That's really young. I have a niece that is 7, and I'm looking at her and I can't imagine her coming to talk to me about sex. And sorry, in church too, there are some children I look at them like I can't imagine them talking to me about it, but it is what it is. We're in it now. We're in it now. Yeah. So
Thank you
start early as long as they know their body parts.
That's true.
From their head, let them not, yeah.
Is there anything else you want to add as we round up?
No. any questions on Slido or everything is okay?
Let me check. So everyone, if you have any question, we'll take 1 or 2 questions. If you have any questions, please, you can put in the comment section, and also you can put them on Slido. If you have any question.
Someone said at 18 months. That's good. I'm looking at a comment on Instagram.
I think one of the questions that have been asked, the question that I only said, I didn't go back to Instagram first. Someone said, I told my daughter as soon as 18 months that our private parts are our private parts. No one is allowed to touch you in your private part. No one, and she's so aware of it. That's really good.
Yeah.
Just compliments.
Then somebody else has also written something.
My view as parents, once your child is like 3, don't dress in front of them. Yes. Great session. Thank you, everyone. I think one of the questions on Slido, you've already answered it. It just says, Can you share some simple activities or games that spark creativity and make you already answered that? Yes. And in rounding up, please show emoji claps for Sister Sapphire. She's joined us. Please, let's appreciate her. Let's clap. Let's show our love with all the information she's giving us. Have we been empowered? If there's anything you've learned, please put in the comment section. Anything that stood out to you in the period of the live session, please put in the comment section. You can also put it on Slido also, because your voice matters, and that's why we've created the Slido platform. If you have any feedback on any of our live that we've done, any idea or anything that you want us to address more or talk more about, please put it on the Slido. I will look into it and then we'll address this. Somebody said, thanks, Sister Sapphire. Thanks, Debbie. I think it's also important to tell children that family members can't touch you either. Yes. Yes. The statistics shows that children are more likely to be abused by people they know. Yes. I agree. Yes. So please use a Slido, and also I have a platform on YouTube. Like, share, and also subscribe to my YouTube channel. There are some things that are not here on the live that is on the YouTube channel. So please like, share, and also Auntie also has a Instagram platform. Auntie, please, do you want to talk about your Instagram platform that she has?
Okay, my Instagram platform is called Praying Mama K. It's just to encourage moms, parents on their journey. I've been a bit what's the word, quiet recently, but I'm hoping to get
the world.
Yes, I've been touring the world.
She's been touring the world. So while she's touring the world, she's also been doing homeschooling with a child.
Yes. So I'll be back because I've gotten like a few questions like, why did you stop? So please bear with me. So,
and while we are this, say please type it.
Oh,
and if you want to type Praying Mama, let me put it. And while we're this, just bear in mind why she's mentioned about Praying Mama at the end of this month, July, the day I'm not sure yet, I will let you know. We're going to be praying for our children and also praying for ourselves. This is the first time we'll be doing this, and we really need to pray for ourselves as mothers, as sisters, as friends, as wives, and also praying for our children also. I will be doing this at the end of the month. Please put it in your diary, bear it in mind. And yes, so please put this in your diary and bear it in mind. Auntie, like K. So Tolu is there praying Mama K. So bear that in mind. We'll be praying the end of this month. Auntie. Yeah, so we'll be praying at the end of this month. And I know a few people have said to me, oh, do you have session online that you go to events? Yes, I do speak at events. If you have events coming up and you want me to come and speak, please reach out to me on my social media platform. My email is there on my Instagram. You can reach out to me and then I will get in touch with you also. And like I said, like, share, and subscribe. And for our live today, we were in partner with one of the social media and people. You need to check it out. Different Stone. They help with property and they help also with your mortgages. If you're looking into going into buying your own house or you want to go into property business, reach out to them also on Instagram. And I'm not sure if you can give me your Instagram for the Instagram for Different Stone. Out to them also on Instagram. And I'm not sure if you can give me your Instagram. If it is, please put it on the comment section. You can reach out to them. So we partner with them for this live. So if you want to partner with us, you can reach out to me on Instagram or my email. My email is bltwithdebs@gmail.com. And if you have any questions, have anything that you want to speak to me about, you can also reach out to me. Anything that you discuss is kept confidential. Like maybe you don't know anyone that know a qualified mental health practitioner, so I am banned to keep any information confidential. The only thing I will not be keeping confidential is if you say to me you're going to kill yourself. I can't keep that confidential. I am bound by law and I'm also under NMC guideline. So if you say to me you're going to end your life, I have to follow procedure by contacting the emergency services and let them know that this is what you've expressed to me. If you want to end your own life or you're planning to end somebody else's life, I cannot keep that confidential. I need to break the procedure about confidentiality for this. Anything other than that is confidential with me. And thank you so much. Don't forget to go to our Slido and don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on our YouTube channel and also on our Instagram. Be on the lookout because we'll be doing some giveaway and everything soon. So bye and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Bye and thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you, everyone. Bye. Bye. Bye and thank you so much, Auntie. Thank you, everyone. Bye.